Hello, welcome to my series of videos on time value of money. In this presentation, I want to focus on a different concept, and that is how we can compute the other variables relating to time value of money, and that is the how to compute interest, the number of periods, and the payments. Now, I'm going to focus on two mainly in this presentation, and that is the interest and the number of periods. I'm going to leave the payments or the PMT because we're going to address this later on, but I'll try to mention what this is all about. So again, use of the timeline is very crucial in solving the time money of value problems. So in this example, because we are looking at different variables, and that is the interest. So in this example is in order for us to determine interest or to determine the number of periods, and our focus is on a single amount, we're going to assume then you're going to be given the present value. So the present value is going to be given to you. Of course, the future value will be given to you. So you have a future value given to you. You have a present value also given to you. And if we have to determine, of course, the I, so if you are looking for I or the rate, if you're looking for this, then it means then the number of periods are going to be given to you. So you'll have the number of periods. In this example, we are talking of a period of 3 years. And let's say again, we're investing $88 today or $100 today, so we can tell, or we're going to be given the future value and vice versa. So in order for us to find I, the easy way to do so, because again it's going to be more tedious in trying to find the n and the I variables using the formula. Even though you can do it, it just is going to consume most of the time. So the best way to approach the problem will be to try to use the financial calculator or to use spreadsheet. If you're going to use the calculator, again, we're assuming here the compounding is done on a yearly basis and the investment is $100 today for 3 years, and so therefore we know the future value is given to us. In this example, the future value again is 119 and 10 cents, and we also know the investment today is $400, so the present value is also given to us. And if we are looking for I, that's what we're trying to look for, then of course we know what the number of periods are is 3 years. So the n is known, the PV is known, the future value is known. So what we don't know, of course, is the interest. So what you do again, you'll enter all those inputs in your calculator where n is 3, present value is 100, the future value is 119.10, and of course the payment again in this example is 0 because we're talking about a single amount. So we're going to ignore the payment, or we just enter 0 to be the payment. And then of course you press your compute key and press your I, and that will give you a value of 6%. In this example is 6%. Again, remember, we're assuming here the compounding here is on an annual basis, so every year, and therefore in this case is going to be 6%. You could also solve the same problem with the same values but using Excel. To do so, again, you go to a spreadsheet, you go to any cell, enter equal rate into, and then of course your number of periods is going to be 3. You'll enter that to be 3. The PMT, again, you put that to be 0, and your present value will be 100, and your future value will be 119.10, and the type here again we're going to assume by default is going to be 0, and then of course you enter, and that will give you again the rate to be 6%. Again, that's just the easy way again to solve the same problem of finding what I should be. And if somebody was asking you for the number of periods, or if the problem was on how to determine n, then it will just be the same process you're going to follow through. So you're going to, in this case, n is not given to you, but we assume then this the rate is given to you as 6%. So what you have here is you have 6% as the rate, and you don't know, or you don't have the the number of periods. So what you're going to do is you'll enter the same values just as you did for the interest. The only thing you'll do, compute n, and that will give you, again, if you do it, it's going to give you this to be 3 years. So it's the same process on how to find I and how to find the number of periods. The only thing is what you compute is going to be either n, or you compute what I is. So it's same process. If somebody was asking you to determine, of course, the number of periods, so if that was the case, use the same process. And it will be the same thing also when it comes to using the spreadsheet. So what you'll do, again, instead of saying rate, in this case is going to be the number of periods, and you'll enter everything, and again you'll end up having the number of periods, or being 3 in that particular example. So again, that's the quick way of trying to address that issue. Then another issue is to use the formula, but again, the formula is a tedious process. So remember what we said. If you're going to use the formula to do so, we know that the future value is equals to the present value into 1 plus I raised to a power of n. So what we're trying to do here is, if you're looking for I, what you're trying to do is to make I the subject. And if you're trying to look for n, then you're going to try to make n the subject. So you'll just have to make n the subject in that formula. But again, it becomes a tedious process in trying to derive what uh, uh, I or n is. I know n will be much easier, but I will be much complex in trying to use the formula to determine what that value is. For example, if you're looking at so this could be the same thing of saying that the future value divided by the present value is equal to 1 plus I raised to n. And then what you do is, to get rid of that n, what you do is you'll find the nth root. So what you'll do is you'll find the nth root of this and the nth root of this, and what happens is what you end up getting is the nth root of the future value divided by present value should be equal to 1 plus I. And to determine what I will be, again, we just carry this. To determine what I will be, or making I the subject, you'll then take the nth root of the future value divided by the present value, and then what you do is minus 1. And this is the formula you'll need to determine what I will be if you have to use the formula. So again, uh, if this was a case of 3 years, remember this is a case of 3 years. So in that case, your n is going to be 3. So you're looking at determining the cube root of that equation. So the cube root of future value divided by present value. So it'll be cube root because your n is 3. If n was 2, then we're looking at finding the square root of the future value divided by the present value. If the n was 4, then we are looking at determining the the fourth root of the future value divided by present value, and then just take out 1 from that from that value. You end up having what I would be. Again, it's a tedious process, but it's doable by using the formula. And you can do the same thing for the determining what n will be, by again by just making n the subject of this particular formula. The easy one is to practice using the financial calculator, and practice using a spreadsheet in solving the I or the N. In terms of the payment, I'm going to show you how to do so when we are dealing with annuities. And I'm going to, that's where we're going to see how we compute or determine the PMT in that aspect. So I hope this information helps. and I look forward to discussing the next series, the next part of my series, which is going to be on annuities, and which is going to be ordinary annuity, annuity due, and some of the discussion on deferred annuity. So look forward for my next part 4 of the video where we'll deal with those issues. Thank you.